What up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew: Shy, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. Everyone who's tuning in, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel. Help make this show the best that it can be. And can't waste no time to waste. Man, look, when you get right down to it, man, I've been watching the NBA for a very long time, man. A long time, man. Basically since the merger of 1976, man. So I had to be around about 6 years old. That's when I started watching the NBA. And at that time, it was about Dr. J coming into the league. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted to know who Dr. J was. And you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, don't get me wrong. Kareem was Kareem. And you had a lot of great players during that time. But I followed Dr. J. And I was hooked at that moment. I've been watching the NBA since, man. It's been a lot of great moments, man. It's been a lot of great moments. And I start becoming a fan of the Lakers by the early 80s, man. It's been a lot of great times, man. A lot of great times, man. And the defeats, as they say, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, but that's part of being a fan. So you have to roll with all of it, man. You know. But I never thought I would see a situation like we are witnessing in the year 2025, man. I just never thought this was even possible. Like the mind could even grasp it. Like you can't script this. Like if you was a script writer trying to put together a movie or something, man, you can't come up with nothing like this, man. This wouldn't go down in the 80s. This wouldn't go down in the 70s. This wouldn't go down in the 90s. And this was when the influx of high school players started entering the NBA by the mid-90s. This wouldn't have went down in 2024. I mean, in 1994, 1995, when Kevin Garnett entered the NBA out of I believe that was the Farragut Academy in Chicago. See, the high school players they let in the league during that time, they were the cream of the crop. They were the cream of the crop. And if I knew Dalton Knecht personally, who was selected by the Lakers with the 17th pick of last year's draft in the first round, if I knew him personally, man, if I was a friend of his, man, you know, or a consultant or advisor, I tell him, man, to request a trade, get on out of there, man. And I hate to say that. I've been a fan of the team for a long time. And like I said, I'm not the greatest fan. I've came across some great fans of this franchise, man, that was following the team during the Jerry West and the Elgin Baylor years, man, Wilt Chamberlain. So I'm not the longest tenured fan by a long shot. But what I'm saying is, when you continuously lower the bar, man, this is what you get. Exploitation, manipulation, mocking the game. And see, the thing is, if you lower the bar, someone's gonna take the advantage of that. If you lower the bar, if you don't maintain the standard, someone's gonna try to take advantage of that. It's just that simple. And who's to say we won't see a fiasco like this at some point down the line with somebody else? It can very well happen, because another NBA player who has a son, he may be like, well, y'all let this man's son in the league with no credentials. Well, I want my son to be drafted. But see, the thing is, man, this is why when you let one player, man, you know, disrespect the game to the level that we've seen, everything gets discredited, and then the players who follow that precedent, they have to be penalized for it. This is why this new CBA was implemented. This is why this new CBA was implemented to it's almost like a penalty for all the nefarious activity that we've seen take place over the past 15 years that kicked off during the summer of 2010. It's just that simple. And the league has been devalued on every level, people, man. It started well, competition as a whole became devalued. Rivalries between superstars became devalued and practically eliminated across the landscape. There were always exceptions. There's always exceptions now during these 15 years where it should be more of the rule versus the exception, rather the exception to the current rule. Coaching became devalued. Young talent getting drafted became devalued. The all-star game became devalued. Just everything, man. The history of the game became devalued. And it's been real nasty, man. And if I was Dalton Knecht, on the real, man, if I was Dalton Knecht, I would request to get out of there and I thought this was impossible after what happened to the original young core. The Julius Randles, the Brandon Ingrams, the Lonzo Balls, the Kyle Kuzma, the Jordan Clarkson, the Avisa Zubats, I can go down the line. Dalton Knecht has been devalued at a greater rate than even they were. They tried to trade this man 6 months into his rookie season when he did nothing wrong. When he was given the minutes as a rookie, he was productive. He's done nothing wrong. Nothing. He was ready to come in, man, and represent the purple and gold. But because this franchise has been bombarded with a superficial, franchise-altering, all-time win-now scenario, it's led this young man to be devalued in record time. And if I was him on the real, I would request a trade immediately, man, because he has to play second fiddle to this man right here who has no business in the league. And this is where it's time to start getting real, man. It's time to go. He got to sit there. First of all, he's drafted. And then the son of the Hurricane is drafted. The son of the Hurricane gets more spotlight, interviews, praise, commentary, conversation when he only averaged 4 points a game in college. And he was not a world beater in high school. This is not a knock on him because I believe he's being pushed anyway. He's being forced to do this to try to prove a point. And it's all about Michael Jordan trying to do something Michael Jordan was unable to do, but Michael Jordan would never disrespect the game. There was not one time where basketball fans back then felt that Michael Jordan ever disrespected the game. Not once. When I mean not one time, I mean not one time. And this is what this is all about at the expense of this franchise. And it's so diabolical. You wouldn't think a person could conceive and think in this manner to try to prove that he's the greatest. And the things that he's trying to do to prove that really have nothing to do with the actual game. Him of himself. This young man averaged 4 points a game in college and getting more pub than a man who was player of the year in the SEC in his conference, led the league in three-point shooting. And he's been devalued in record time, so much so that there's talk out there that this man's son right here deserves more playing time than Dalton Knecht. When he was devalued, he did nothing wrong. When I say he did nothing wrong, he did absolutely nothing wrong. And like I said, man, I didn't think a group of young players could not get devalued quicker than the original young core of the Lakers. But this young man here, he's already devalued people. He's already, think about this, man. Now they said he's not worthy of a first round status when he was selected in the first round and still in the draft. What they saying is when they say you the still in the draft, they're saying that your projection of being drafted, you should have been drafted higher than what you actually was. Instead of 17th pick, realistically, he probably should have been more of like, at worst, top 10 or greater than that. Probably I'd say top 7. Just for the sake of argument. I ain't gonna say number 1. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, no, I'm not gonna go that far. But I'm saying the grand scheme of things, man, you know, his potential as a player, I see him averaging 20 points a game, man. I'm telling you, man, he gonna go somewhere, man, and where he can really buckle down and really develop his game, man. And it gets me to the only conclusion I can reach is that ultimately he was drafted really to be used in the same manner that the original young core, and that's the ultimate goal is to trade him, include him in a trade at some point, to try to create a roster they could put themselves in a position to win right now. And it's sad, man. And see, what fans of the franchise gotta understand, man, the franchise did not operate as a win-now organization. They set a standard that led to Showtime winning 5 championships in over 10-year span. They became the team of the decade of the 1980s. They drafted their players in, outside of Kareem, who they acquired in a trade in 1975, the year before the ABA folded and merged with the NBA. They drafted the Norm Nixon. They drafted the Michael Coopers. And that was before they drafted Magic. They drafted Kurt Rambis. They drafted James Worthy. They drafted A.C. Green. They essentially drafted Byron Scott because they acquired his draft rights just like they did Kobe Bryant. So essentially he was drafted. He just had to take an extra step to acquire those draft rights, you know, to bring him on as a rookie. They drafted Vlade Divac at the end of tail end of Kareem's career. They drafted Elder Campbell. They drafted David Rivers to be an understudy under Magic Johnson. David Rivers was the top point guard in the country coming out of Notre Dame. They was drafting players. They weren't making no blockbuster trades every freaking year. And only, I would say during that whole run, they had Bob McAdoo, but he was on the tail end of his career, so he mainly played a 6-man. That was up until about 84, 85-ish, 85. And then they acquired Michael Thompson to kind of fill in for Kareem as far as the rebounding and defense in the paint. That was it, man. They weren't trade for no blockbuster trades every freaking year. They set a standard, right? And then with Showtime in it, we start over through the draft. We weren't trying to go win now. We started over through the draft. We became a playoff level team. You know what I'm saying? They was a darn good team. Because I'd rather have what's going on in the 90s than what's going on right now. Because this is sheer madness. You got to see a rookie get devalued in record time. And then once we became a playoff team in the 90s, then Kobe Bean. We draft Kobe Bean. We draft Derek Fisher. And then we bring in Shaq as the free agent. And Shaq agreed to sign with the Lakers because Jerry West showed him a workout video of Kobe Bryant. That's what sealed the deal. And then we took it from there, people. Then after Shaq was traded, we mainly rebuilt through the draft. You know what I'm saying? So this notion that we win now is really a misnomer and it's highly exaggerated. It's a difference between a standard win now. Win now, you sacrifice it. A standard is what you build over a period of time. And that's what Michael Jordan said, man, doing that Bulls documentary when Steve Kerr was brought to the team and whatnot. And Michael Jordan came back, he said, look, y'all wasn't around. Y'all didn't have a part in what we did in 91, 92, and 93. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't be messing around, lollygagging. Y'all have to meet a standard. It's a difference. And I guarantee you, if we had our real team out there, led by our young core who would be veterans by now, in their prime for the most part, the environment would be conducive for a player. First of all, the son of the hurricane when he be on the team. And we can start thinking more logically. Instead of stooping ourselves down, believing that this dude gonna lead us to the promised land. Instead of no man, the reality is he's leading us to no man's land. But the environment would be there for a player like Dalton Knecht to come in, man, and just, you develop him, man. The veterans from the young core would help bring him along, man, and say, man, you part of Laker family now. You part of us, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, man, the mentality is totally different. The confidence would be through the roof. Telling you, man, like, I didn't see too many examples of teams being built this way. That's why OKC went to the fire this year. They had 2 7-game series. Home court advantage helped them win that championship because they earned the right to get the number 1 seed based on how they played throughout the regular season. So they had to go through the fire to establish their own standard. You see what I'm saying? They can care less about trying to win right now. The standard has been established. The standard will always outlast any team trying to take a shortcut. I guarantee it, man. I freaking guarantee it. And that's why I'm so bitter about what happened to my team that started 7 years ago. And I feel terrible what's going on with Dalton Knecht, man. Because the dude came in, I remember the preseason game against the Phoenix Suns, they showed on ESPN. And he ripped off like 38, 40 points. He was hot. In that fourth quarter, he got hot. And there was nothing they could do with him, man. That's one of them dudes, man. He like a Klay Thompson dude, man, where he don't even need to dribble the ball once he catch it. He just catch and shoot. Boom. See what I'm saying? And they took that away from him, man, and they traded him for a center because they mortgaged their center off 6 years ago playing for the Clippers, second team all defense. Really should have been first team all defense, led the league in total rebounding, and was the best defender in the paint at his position within 6 feet of the basket. Tell you, man, it's criminal. It's criminal, dog. But if I'm Dalton Knecht in closing, man, because he shouldn't have to take a back seat to this, man. He should not have to take a back seat to where, see, these talking heads, they don't want Dalton Knecht to thrive. They want this man's son out there so they can try to prove a point. Because they're trying to base of what was somebody doing in the G League. The G League ain't the same G League that it was 7 years ago when we fielded, excuse me, y'all, when we fielded the best summer league team of all time in 2017. Nah, the G League took a hit. The G League took a hit. The Lakers G League team finished with a record of 1-4. Come on, man, what we talking about, man? Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. But for the sake of this man's career, and I'm gonna shut this bad boy down, he need to get on out of there, man, on the real. Get out of there, man. Asked to be traded, because they already traded him. Get on out of there, man. And he can focus on his career and someone can value his talent because he's been deep. Think about this, people. He the steal of the draft. Now they saying he's not worthy of being given significant minutes on the roster and replace him with this man's son? Come on, man. What we doing? What we doing, man? Telling you. This is bogus, dog, what's going on, man. But I'm gonna shut this bad boy down, man. Please leave your comments and thoughts. I just had to, that's my rant for the day, man. But But yeah, I just want to drop that real quick, man. But leave your comments and thoughts. And until next time, it's your boy JB, the BTB, behind the bench, y'all.